Have you ever wondered how the Great Pyramid of Giza was built? 2.3 million stones, each weighing 2.5 tons, stacked 480 feet into the sky. And they did it without cranes, without pulleys, without even the wheel. Modern engineers admit they couldn't replicate it today with the same restrictions. So how did Bronze Age workers build something so precise that the base is level to within 2 centimeters across 13 acres? The answer isn't what you think, and it's way more impressive than aliens or lost technology. The Great Pyramid of Khufu was the tallest structure on Earth for 3,800 years. Nothing came close until the Eiffel Tower in 1889. 2.3 million limestone blocks. If you work 24 hours a day for 20 years, you need to place one block every 2.5 minutes. Nonstop. For 2 decades. And these weren't bricks. The average block weighed 2.5 tons. Some granite blocks in the King's Chamber weigh 80 tons. The base of the pyramid is level to within 2.1 centimeters across 230 meters. The sides align to true north within 3/60ths of a degree. You can't achieve that accuracy today without laser levels and GPS. Let's be clear about their technology. No wheels, no pulleys, no iron tools, no explosives, no machinery of any kind. They had copper chisels that went dull after a few strikes. They had wooden sledges. They had rope made from papyrus. They had stone hammers. That's it. And the Nile flooded their work site every year, which meant construction only happened during the 4-month dry season. For decades, people suggested giant ramps spiraling around the pyramid. Sounds good until you do the math. A ramp at a workable incline to reach the top would need to be over a mile long. It would contain more material than the pyramid itself. Then you'd have to dismantle it without leaving any trace. Nobody's found evidence of a ramp that big. Here's what they actually did. Most limestone came from quarries less than half a mile away. They cut channels around a block, hammered wooden wedges into cracks, then soaked the wedges. The wood expands with incredible force, splitting the stone along natural fracture lines. For harder granite, they used dolerite pounders, dense stones that could chip away at granite through percussion. Slow, but it worked. Egyptian workers weren't slaves. Recent archaeological evidence from workers' villages shows they were paid laborers, skilled craftsmen, engineers, and seasonal farmers working during the flood season. They had healthcare, good food, and were buried with honor near the pyramids they built. Now, moving 80-ton blocks without wheels. In 2014, physicists discovered ancient Egyptians poured water on the sand in front of sledges. Wet sand reduces friction by 50%. You can move twice the weight with the same effort. Wall paintings show this exact technique, a worker at the front of the sledge pouring water. For centuries, archaeologists thought it was ceremonial. It was engineering. For the massive granite blocks, they used wooden sledges on wooden tracks, lubricated with water or milk. Physics experiments proved you could move 80-ton blocks with 60 workers using this technique. But how did they lift them? In 2017, archaeologists using thermal imaging and muon particle detectors found voids inside the Great Pyramid. Not treasure chambers. Structural cavities that matched the pattern of an internal ramp system. They built an external ramp for the first third of the pyramid. Then they constructed a spiral ramp inside the pyramid, wrapping around the interior, getting smaller as they went higher. No massive external ramp needed. The ramp becomes part of the structure. When they're done, they seal the ramp chambers from inside, which explains the voids we're detecting with modern technology. How do you align to true north without a compass? They use the stars. They track the rotation of circumpolar stars around the celestial pole. By marking the rising and setting points and bisecting the angle, they could find true north to within a fraction of a degree. How do you level the base perfectly? Water channels. They cut a grid of trenches around the base, filled them with water, and marked the water level. Water always finds perfect level. Then they cut the bedrock to match those marks. Simple. Brilliant. The stone fitting precision came from trial and error with marking and cutting. Each stone was custom fitted to its spot. That's why the blocks fit so tightly you can't slide a razor blade between them. Recent estimates suggest 10,000 to 20,000 skilled workers for the permanent crew, with another 70 to 80,000 seasonal laborers during the flood months. We have excavated workers' villages. They had bakeries producing thousands of loaves daily. Breweries. Medical facilities where we've found healed broken bones. Graffiti in the quarries shows work gang names, pride in their labor. They were building a national monument, a spiritual machine to ensure Egypt's prosperity. For 1,500 years later, we're still discovering how they did it. In 2023, archaeologists found a lost tributary of the Nile that ran right to the Giza Plateau. The pyramids weren't in the desert when they were built. They were on a harbor. Suddenly, transporting those blocks makes even more sense. They floated them on barges during the flood season, then used the wet sand technique for the short distance to the construction site. Every few years, new technology reveals another piece of the puzzle. Ground-penetrating radar, cosmic ray detection, satellite imagery. Each discovery confirms the same thing. They did it with knowledge, planning, and human determination. The pyramids weren't built by lost civilizations or alien technology. They were built by people who understood physics, astronomy, and engineering at a level that still impresses us today. They proved that human beings, working together with simple tools and brilliant problem-solving, can accomplish things that seem impossible. They did it without computers, without motors, without steel. When modern engineers say they couldn't replicate it with the same restrictions, they're not saying it's impossible. They're saying we've become so dependent on our technology that we've forgotten how to think like the Egyptians thought. We still don't know everything. The internal ramp theory isn't confirmed. We don't know the exact ratio of workers to stones. We don't know every technique they use for the most massive blocks. But that's what makes it incredible. 4,500 years later, the pyramids still teach us, still challenge us, still stand as proof that human ingenuity doesn't need advanced technology. It needs knowledge, determination, and the will to solve impossible problems. The Great Pyramid of Khufu is the oldest of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. It's also the only one still standing. Maybe that's the real message. Built to last forever, by people who understood permanence better than we do. So the next time someone tells you aliens built the pyramids, you'll know the truth. Humans did, with copper tools, wooden sledges, and brilliant engineering that we're still trying to fully understand. If you want more ancient mysteries that actually have answers, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.